Buenos días y bienvenidos a la semana 12. We're getting closer and closer to the end. So in semana 12, in week 12, obviously you should be watching this video first. And what you are going to be doing today is the following. Okay, you're going to be able to ask and tell where it hurts, what you and others like and dislike, and what bothers you and others. You'll be able to discuss and ask about what matters to you and others and what is of interest to you and others. You'll be able to ask and talk about a variety of topics using pronouns to refer to both direct as well as indirect object pronoun or objects. You'll be able to politely tell someone to do something using formal commands. You will be able to communicate instructions in a clear and simple language using these commands. You'll be able to practice asking patients to repeat instructions, whether an interpreter is used or not, as a safe check on patient understanding, and be able to answer questions such as when and to what degree by using adverbs. Okay, so you'll be completing your textbook pages and the corresponding My Spanish Lab activities. The quiz this week will be on Blackboard. It's over vocabulario. You'll turn in Dialogue 7 this week on April 3rd, on this Wednesday. And you'll work with your partner on Dialogo 8, which will be due Wednesday of next week, April 10th. And as always, you'll log an hour of language cultural contact. So a little bit more specific of a breakdown. You'll find your Semana 12 plan here and here. Okay. We will be covering pages 142 through 152. However, the quiz will cover pages 131 and 132. It's going to be over el cuerpo humano. Okay. The quiz will be 15 minutes, and it'll be over that vocabulary. Okay. So again, you're submitting Dialogo 7 this week, and you can begin working on Dialogo 8, which will be due the next week. Okay. Now, when you click on your quiz, it will come up with vocabulario, telling you what to study, that there's external body parts as well as internal body parts. You can click on this link to hear pronunciation of the different parts. And when you're ready to take your quiz, you'll click here. Okay? And you'll have only 15 minutes. You will need to include the definite article as well as accent marks. Okay? Diálogo 7, you should already be familiar with the instructions. Pero es un diálogo entre un médico asociado y un joven paciente hondureño que tiene dificultad para dormir. So again, one person will be a physician's assistant, and the other person will be the patient, who happens to be a young man or woman from Honduras who's having trouble sleeping. Okay, so you'll greet each other appropriately, introduce yourselves, and this kind of goes back a little bit to that capítulo 4 with some reflexive verbs. Okay, so get a little bit more practice here. You want to introduce yourself after greeting. Okay, the physician's assistant should introduce him or herself. Ask the patient for his or her name and how to spell the first and last name. Find out how he or she is feeling and why he or she is here today. When, what time he or she goes to bed, when and what time he or she falls asleep, and when or what time he or she wakes up. Tell your patient that the doctor will see or is going to see him or her in a few minutes. Thank them and the appropriate closings. Okay? So that is Diálogo 7. And when you're ready, you will be able to start Diálogo 8, which is un diálogo entre una nutrióloga o nutrióloga y un paciente, un hombre o una mujer de México que acaba de sufrir un infarto de corazón y que también padece de diabetes. So as always, you will run through your dialogue twice. And I apologize, I will correct it. This will read Diálogo dialogue 8. Okay? But one person will play a nutritionist, a nutriólogo or nutrióloga, who's talking with a patient, a man or woman from Mexico, who just recently had a heart attack and suffers from diabetes. And so you need to recommend a healthy diet and exercise program. But he or she prefers his or her regular diet, which contains some rather unhealthy choices. And this person does not like to exercise. So you may want to go back and review the food vocabulary from prior chapter on pages 122 and 123, as well as the parts of the body that you have on the quiz this week, pages 131 to 132, to help you with the dialogue. So you'll have the appropriate greetings. The nutritionist will introduce him or herself and ask the patient for his or her name, how to spell his or her last name only, how he or she feels today, what is his or her normal diet, what is it like, what is his or her exercise routine, or what is it like. And you need to give him or her suggestions for a healthy diet. Give him or her suggestions for an exercise program. Be specific as to what body parts the different exercises will improve. Find out what your partner thinks about your suggestions. And this is going to be requiring some grammar from this week with verbs that require an indirect object pronoun. Okay? Tell your patient what he or she needs to do. Okay? And give a few suggestions. And then thank him or her in the appropriate closing or farewells. Okay? Now, after that, you will see the recursos, which are always these extra resources. And there are some PowerPoints on reviewing direct and indirect object pronouns and then how to use them together. A review of formal commands as well as adverbs. Okay. And that will be it for semana 12. Bueno, les deseo buena suerte.